From Royal Communications Incorporated, pleasant good evening. Welcome to King's Newsroom for the 5 minutes of accurate, balanced, incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. Today is Thursday, September 4th, 2025. Story topping the headlines this evening: Capitol building eyes on trial takes another dramatic legal term on Thursday as Criminal Court A resident George Roosevelt Willie reserve ruling in a 33 motion to suppress evidence filed by the defense team representing in battle former House Speaker Councillor Fonati Kofa and three others of the 55th legislature. Political leader of the Liberia People's Party terms high salary for public officials extravagant state banquets, endless envoys, and delegations to foreign conferences in the country where majority cannot afford daily bills as examples of legalized theft. United States Embassy near Monrovia has announced a collaborative maritime security initiative between the Liberian Coast Guard and the Michigan National Guard. Away from Liberia, Ebola outbreak has killed about 15 people in the DR Congo. At least 15 people have died in a new outbreak of Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's according to the country's health ministry. And of course, foreign minister has been sentenced to hard labor for corruption in Zambia. The news bulletin voices of the newsmakers are all packaged in this edition of the program. We take a very short break to be right back. The Capitol building as on trial took another dramatic legal term on Thursday as Criminal Court A George Roosevelt Willie Thursday reserve ruling in the 33-count motion to suspend evidence filed by the defense team representing Imparto House Speaker Councillor J. Fonati Kofi and three other lawmakers of the 55th legislature. The trial, already honoring intense national scrutiny, continuing inside the park courtroom at the Temple of Justice, where intense legal sparring unfolded between defense attorneys and government prosecutors. The motion spanning 33 legal counts was argued by legal defense counsel Councillor Arthur Johnson, who accused the prosecution of procedural misconduct and constitutional violations in the collection of evidence against the accused. Councillor Johnson said the count or the court urging. He told the court urging the judge to invalidate all evidence obtained illegally, improperly, and in violation of the rights of the defendants. The defense motions to suppress evidence is among the most significant tools available in criminal trials, particularly in cases with strong political undertones. Councillor Johnson argued that crucial documents, electronic communications, and witness testimonies were secured without proper warrants beyond judicial or jurisdictional boundaries or in violation of legal procedures. However, legal prosecutor Councillor Richard Scott rejected the defense claims, describing the motion as an elaborate smokescreen designed to delay justice and confuse the real issues. Councillor Scott argued that the evidence in question was obtained in full compliance with both statutory and constitutional procedure. In a related development, Criminal Court A George Roosevelt Willie has denied a motion filed by defense attorneys seeking to televise the proceedings, the case which has drawn intense public interest, largely due to political prominence of one of the accused, Grand Crew District Number 2 representative and former House Speaker J. Fonati Kofa, and three other lawmakers. The defense team, led by Councillor Arthur Johnson, argued that live coverage of the trial will promote transparency, save the public interest, and help to counter what they described as widespread misinformation and political narratives surrounding the case. The motion cited a precedent set by the Supreme Court in the re-petition where live broadcasting was previously permitted in matters of significant public interest. Councillor Johnson contended that televising the trial will act as a safeguard against political spin, misinformation, and public doubt. However, in counter argument, prosecution led that's lead counsellor Richard Scott argued that the televising the proceedings could undermine the integrity of the courtroom, encouraging theoretical behavior from lawyers, intimidating witnesses, and disrupting the solemnity of the trial. With strong backing from the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, CENTAR, the John Civil Society Anti-Corruption Initiative, on September 4, 2025, convened a one-day workshop aimed at strengthening grassroots forces in the national fight against corruption. The training brought together over 30 representatives from 15 communities-based and civil society organizations all across Central Monrovia. Speaking at the opening, Siafa Escamara, coordinator of the committee, emphasized that the section was designed not just for participation, but to inspire active involvement in combating corruption. According to him, the workshop was intended to increase participations of the participants' capacity as civil society and community-based organizations to help institutions in fighting corruption both at the community and national level, engaging in a series of interactive presentations covering key topics such as understanding corruption, Liberia's anti-corruption laws, and the intersection of gender and corruption. The sections highlighted the need for evidence-based advocacy and the importance of mainstreaming gender in anti-corruption efforts, given that women are often disproportionately affected by corrupt practices in healthcare, markets, and other public services. The newly elected representative of Nimba County, District Number 5, Koto Kogwa, has backed Senator Samuel Kogai call for financial audit of the count. Appearing on state radio Thursday, the newly elected representative of Nimba District Number 5, Kogwe, called for a comprehensive internal audit of all county-level expenditures, projects, and development funds. The representatives elect expressed deep concerns over what he describes as years of unchecked spending, vague reporting, and institutional silence surrounding the use of public funds in Nimba County. The representative of District Number 5 has vowed to push for an internal audit at both the district and county's levels. He argued that the development cannot proceed if citizens continue to question whether public funds are being diverted, misused, or outright stolen. He also criticized the long-standing culture of silence in the county administration, where financial records are rarely made public and ordinary citizens have limited access to budgetary information. The United States Embassy near Monrovia has announced a collaborative maritime security initiative between the Liberian Coast Guard and the Michigan National Guard. According to the release from the United States Embassy, the effort is to facilitate honoring the state partnership program involved joint exercises at the United States Coast Guard sector. Detroit aimed at exchanging maritime expertise and building regional resilience. The release noted that the embassy touted the engagement as a deepening of the U.S. Liberia's defense cooperation. Some observers are asking whether this symbolic gesture addresses Liberia's more pressing maritime security needs or simply reflects broader U.S. strategic interests in West Africa. According to the embassy, Liberian personnel participated alongside U.S. and regional counterparts in training exercises designed to improve coordination, tactical skills, and response capabilities in maritime environment. In a significant boost to the country's healthcare system, the government of Liberia has procured 12 state-of-the-art X-ray machine in strengthening diagnostic capabilities and improving healthcare delivery across various medical facilities. Currently stored at the Central Medical Stores near Monrovia, the new equipment will soon be distributed to major hospitals throughout the nation. According to the statement released Thursday, among the newly acquired machines is the advanced 32 KW Mobile X-ray Photography System, Module YSK, known for its innovative robotic arm that offers precise and flexible movements for clearing imaging. This procurement underscores the government's commitment to decentralizing specialized healthcare services, ensuring that patients receive timely and accurate diagnostic support. The equipment with modern features enhance efficiency in medical imaging, making it particularly suitable for both emergency and routine cases. Information Minister Jeremy Pia has responded sharply to recent comments by former council of churches Bishop Cotto Brown, describing the statement as reckless and ill-advised. Reverend Brown had publicly criticized in President Boakar's administration, labeling them as mean, lazy, and selfish. In response, Minister Pia accused the clergymen of showing no regard for public servants and suggested that some members of the clergy have become overly political. Minister Pia said Reverend Brown should focus on his church work and winning souls. If he wants to engage in politics, he should leave the church and join politics formally. The Minister of Education, Dr. Jaso Jala, has announced a major initiative aimed at tackling the alarming number of other schools' children across Liberia. Appearing today at the House of Senate, she said the ministry has waived registration fees in 7 counties, especially targeting children who have been absent from school for about 2 years or more. According to Dr. Jala, the initiative is designed to remove financial barriers that have prevented thousands of children from accessing education, something she said they have committed themselves to ensuring that every Liberian child, regardless of their circumstances, has the opportunity to learn. The education minister disclosed that effort is being rolled out in partnership with UNICEF, which has long been a key supporter of education initiatives in Liberia. She expressed optimism that the combined support from government and developmental partners will significantly reduce the number of children out of school. The ministry has not yet released the list of 7 counties benefiting from the program, but officials say priority was given to regions with the highest rates of school dropouts. Prominent Liberian lawyer and politician Councillor Charlie Bromskin is calling for unity, visionary leadership, and renewed commitment to development of Grand Bassa County and Liberia at large, delivering a powerful address at the annual United Bassa Organizations in the Americas convention to the packed audience of diaspora members, development partners, and supporters. Bromskin emphasized the vital role the Liberian diaspora plays in shifting national transformation through investment, civic education, and engagement and leadership. Councillor Bronskin said Liberians cannot continue to shy away from politics when the direction of the country is shaped by political decisions, adding it is not just about representation, but responsibility, and it's time for Grand Bassa to take its rightful place in Liberia's national leadership. She urged the diaspora community to look beyond celebration and tradition and to engage internationally in the broader conversations about or around infrastructure, education, economic empowerment, and inclusive governance. Bromskin's statements echo a growing sentiment among Liberians at home and abroad on the need for international or intentional investments in regions like Grand Bassa County, which remains rich in history and resources but underserved in national development. Political leader of the Liberian People's Party has termed high salaries for public officials, extravagant state banquets, endless envoys or convoys, and delegations to foreign conferences in a country where the majority cannot afford daily meals as examples of legalized theft. According to Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, in Liberia today, citizens live in a dangerous contradiction, emphasizing that certain payments or practices may carry the seal of government approval, but in truth, nothing more than organized deprivation of the people. Speaking on the Truth Breakfast show Thursday, renowned human rights lawyer turned politician said the mere fact that money is appropriated in the budget or authorized by state does not change its characters when it enriches a few while improvising the many. He mentioned the so-called rescue mission has failed to halt the legalized theft, and instead of curtailing weights, it has enriched or entrenched. It's demonstrating lack of political will to the fight against corruption. Even the words of outsourcing the core government functions under the dubious arrangements such as handling over work permits processing to a civilian company reportedly pocketing 40% of collections strap the state of sovereignty and robs the Liberian people in broad daylight. The news bulletin will take a very short break. When we come back, bring you voices of the newsmakers. Indeed, if you just joining us, it's a reminder you are in tune to King's Newsroom for the 5 minutes of high-graded balance, incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. One of our top stories this evening. Capitol building as on trial takes another dramatic legal term on Thursday as Criminal Court A resident George Roosevelt Willie reserved ruling in the 33-count motion to suppress evidence filed by the defense team representing former in-battle House Speaker, Councillor Fonati Kofa, and 3 other lawmakers of the 55th legislature. Let's now bring you voices of the newsmakers. To this development now, the newly elected representative of Nimba County, District Number 5, Koto Kwager, has backed Senator Samuel Koga called for a financial audit of the counts. Appearing on state radio Thursday, the newly elected representative of District Number 5, Nimba County, called for a comprehensive internal audit of all county-level expenditures, projects, and development funds. The representative-elect expressed deep concerns over what he describes as years of unchecked spending, vague reporting, and institutional silence surrounding the use of public funds in the county.
I'm here. Look, I believe that portion of these rooms is not clean. But you know that we are using room for 3 days. At pyramid, there should be some little dirt on the ground. Then your little brother say, thank you. We are clean our thing, but not out of this room and clean all because we just want to have cleanliness in our community. I don't think your little brother, they respect you. Onokoga said they should audit the county. I say, in my mind, Onokoga is right. What is happening to Liberia that we keep going back is corruption. So I believe, let's add this one there too and clean everything. I don't want for to come from there only then they say, what's about they want? So that clean everything. I'm not saying to Koga, I say legislatures. I think CA. I'm not saying to I don't say District Number 5. I'm not saying on Koga, but I say our county development fund because take from me. Under the leadership of Speaker Ellie Talos, there was a resolution among the representative that annually every district should receive 72,000. And this 72,000, when less preserve what is 72,000, after the deduction of 10% I go to less, the district will have 68,000 to work with. Now, this money was meant for development, and not just in my district, it was across Liberia. Now, this legislative funding in question, after 2023 election, they changed the code to legislative engagement because some of us were speaking about it already. Now, where are the funding? So they changed the code from legislative support projects to legislative engagement. And engagement can be how you take the money, you go give it to your people, how people speak to you, you give it to them. This engagement will not make clear what type of engagement should be made by legislature. Now, this funding was given. So we want to know how this engagement funding were used. We also want to know how the legislative support project funding were being used. That is not to an individual, even to those who are left in space. So you go in.
He's the newly elected representative of Nimba County, District Number 5. The speaking Representative Koto Kwager. Information Minister Jerome Pia has responded sharply to recent comments by former Council of Churches President Bishop Koto Brown describing the statement as reckless and ill-advised. Reverend Brown has publicly criticized officials in black-eyed in President Boyka's administration, labeling them as mean, lazy, and selfish. In response, Minister Pia accused the clergymen of showing no regard for public servants and suggested that some members of the clergy have become overly political. Minister Pia said Reverend Brown should focus on his church work and winning souls. If he wants to engage in politics, he should leave the church and join politics formally.
Let me fair, man. Let me honest in this conversation. The church leader pray for us. Because our great issues are taking place. I will not be divine words of God have come here and TV behind us. I can show you that in the world. So because you not see me, that I mean. That my person I was my office every day and say, Minister, I got a problem. I'm paying rent here. I want school fee. I will go against our way to do it. Then just blind one corner and say they put me selfish. Okay. I was tested the university, so maybe I will pass through a church one day and say, we should have broke. I didn't make up. You see what I mean? That would mean you generous. So I go ask you to give me. So Bishop is a good friend, but I think he's shifting too much off the radar because don't forget now, these are the same people who were some criticizing Georgia here. They were very and said when I criticizing me over that.
Information Minister Jawolume Piade speaking today at Mika regular press briefing. The president of the University of Liberia, Professor Dr. Lydia Mampayan, has provided an update on the institution's financial challenges and planned reforms. According to Dr. Mampayan, it will cost about 3.9 million United States dollars to renovate the university's facilities, with additional 300,000 specifically. She indicated that the university requested a total budget of 41 million, but only received 33 million from the government. Of this amount, 90% is already committed to covering salaries, leaving minimum funds available for infrastructural improvements and other operational needs.
So let's begin by taking a stock of where we are financially. I arrived and received a packet of budget information from my predecessor, now Ambassador Al Hassan Kante. He let me know that the request that was made last year was 41 million and that we received a subsidy of 33.4 million, for which 90% of that funding was used for personnel. That means salaries plus a little bit for our medical education students to get a stipend. That meant that there was on paper a gap of $8 million, which was partially filled by our internally generated revenue to approximately the figure of $5 million. So that left us with still a gap. I inherited that. Now, in FY 2026, we were told that our budget ceiling for the coming year is again 33.4 million. However, that we have been presented with the opportunity to make the case for what we might actually need. In June of this year, I had the campus participate in a participatory budget exercise in which I asked every unit and every academic department on the campus to give me 3 scenarios. The first scenario is, what would your budget be if you did the exact same thing next year as you did this year?
University of Liberia President Professor Dr. Lydia Mampayan is providing an update on the institution's financial challenges and planned reforms. Political leader of the Liberian People's Party has termed high salaries for public officials, extravagant state banquets, endless convoys, and delegations to foreign conferences in a country where the majority cannot afford daily meals as examples of legalized theft. According to Councillor Tiawangonglo, in Liberia today, citizens live with a dangerous contradiction, emphasizing that certain payments or practices may carry the seal of government approval. They are in truth nothing more than organized deprivation of the people. Speaking today on the Truth Breakfast Show, renowned human rights lawyer turned politician said the mere fact that money is appropriated in the budget or authorized by state does not change its character when it enriches a few while improvising or depriving many.
Leadership is for the people. Live a low life, less expensive life, long convoys, big travel delegations abroad. That's legalized theft. I appear on this very radio and I appear on OKFM and challenge the government, and nobody has debunked that. I said our delegation to Japan was higher than South Africa's delegation. Now South Africa has a presidential plane. It was higher than the Nigerian delegation. It was higher than the Egyptian delegation. I'm calling these three countries because these are the three leading countries in Africa. If they can carry smaller delegation, then Liberia has another scandal. Just like how officials of government in Liberia who are making higher salaries than officials of government in the United States, that's scandal. Carrying higher delegation than the powerful and richer countries in Africa is another scandal. And that's legalized theft, all right? And the legalized theft now is even going to the ministry, I said before, Ministry of Labor. I call it another form of legalized theft, where the work permit. I am the president as Minister of Labor 15 years ago, who increased the work permit fee from $400 to $1,000 US. The intent was not for government to make money. The intent was to discourage employers from bringing non-Liberians here to take jobs that Liberians can do. Since I left, now 1 cent has been added. But from the information I'm getting from the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Labor under the CDC government brought in a Slovenian company called Sept. Sept is now issuing a work permit to non-Liberians who are coming to work here and collecting about 40%. There was no need for that. So if Liberian government gets $1,000 is paid now, Liberian government only gets $600. $400 goes to Sept for virtually doing nothing. And now they say, oh, because it's digitized. We have a lot of Liberians who are learning.
The political leader of the LPP concluded that it is quite violent that produces mass poverty, unemployment, hopelessness, and human suffering, saying until Liberia confronts legalized theft with the same seriousness as petty corruption, the citizens will remain rich in resources but poor in life.
Anything that eases life in any country is popular with the people is very important. If decisions over time are not effective in terms of having the desired effect on the people, they get 2 times angry. They get angrier than they were before. Because these kinds of decisions that tend to ease difficulties and make life more livable create higher expectations. People are right now working on their budget based upon the pronounced price reduction. If it doesn't happen, people get very angry. As an economist, I'm a lawyer, but I taught economics at University of Liberia for at least 8 years. Price is a very troublesome area. The economics say prices are flexible upwards and sticky downwards. So most often, the reaction of people in the market, if the free market does not operate, the reaction of actors in the market is to create scarcity, and then scarcity will create black market prices. The goods will be available at black market prices, which will be higher, and then there will be a negative effect. So I hope that while the government is reducing prices, it's also creating some comfort for importers, for people who are providing these goods, like reduction of taxes on the various goods, or even subsidizing something. The business people are employers, some of them are Liberians themselves too, they're earning income. So
the political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, they're speaking. The Minister of Education, Dr. Jasu Jala, has announced a major initiative aimed at tackling the alarming number of out-of-school children across Liberia. Appearing today at the Senate, she said the ministry has waived registration fees in 7 counties, specifically targeting children who have been absent from school for about 2 years or more. According to Dr. Jala, the initiative is designed to remove financial barriers that have prevented thousands of children from accessing education, something she said they are committed to ensuring that every Liberian child, regardless of their circumstances, has the opportunity to learn.
Kindergarten to GSS.
Yeah, so we need to know, so the public can know it's not more free school.
Yes, kindergarten to GSS public schools.
Is it GSS?
In the junior secondary school.
You gotta explain that.
Which is grades 6 to 8.
Okay.
So regarding universal access, we started the Back to My Classroom campaign launch in the 7 counties that I spoke of. And our goal is to get 250,000 students back in school. We are in the process, and UNICEF is a partner to the ministry in this endeavor.
to take stock on what we have achieved in terms of bringing kids back to school in year one. And that report, once we complete the taking stock for how many kids we've been able to get back to school, that will be shared with the committee. We've also implemented the GOL flagship project. We will be implementing the GOL flagship program for primary and foundational education between 2025 and 2029. We're able to secure the Liberia Excel project, which is excellence in learning. And if we've heard about school construction, this is the project that is going to do that. But that is just a component of the Excel project, because we want to strengthen teaching, learning. The development plan calls for teacher capacity and student learning capacity. And that project is our answer to fixing the foundational learning of our country to yield the learning outcomes that we have. Look at the literacy rates in Liberia right now, we're under 50%. And with that baseline, we need to advance and make progress there. What we also have done is enforce the teacher code of conduct, and we're continuing that process. That is under universal access.
Minister of Education, Dr. Jasso Jala, then speaking today when she appeared before the Senate Committee on Education. Prominent Liberian lawyer and politician, Councillor Charlie Bromskin, is calling for unity, visionary leadership, and renewed commitment to the development of Grand Bassa County and Liberia at large, delivering a powerful address at the annual United Bassa Organizations in the Americas. Bromskin emphasized the vital role of the Liberian diaspora, which plays in shaping national transformation through investment, civic engagement, and leadership. Councillor Bromskin said Liberians cannot continue to shy away from politics when the direction of the country is shaped by political decisions, adding that it is not just about representation but responsibility. It is time for Grand Bassa to take its rightful place in Liberia's national leadership.
And I believe we are the only group that shy away from politics when our country is driven from its belly by political action. It will not do us any justice to come here and go farms and to eat very good food and celebrate and leave here without acknowledging the points that were raised today. So y'all please give me 2 minutes. This idea of unity among the Bassa people, the second largest tribe in our nation. The idea of economic empowerment that the pro-tem mentioned here today, that should rise from Grand Bassa County. But most importantly, that we are intentional about developing the young people. The pro-tem and I have spoken on a number of occasions about, we have said there's no reason that Buchanan City should not be the commercial hub, the economic capital of Liberia. So, Bassa people, when we sit here today and we enjoy ourselves, we would be remiss if I didn't leave here tonight and say, there is no reason, if this thing will put me in trouble because I go on TV, that Bassa, at this point in our history in Liberia, has not produced a president. I'm sorry to, but I'll be 50 next year. And the women who are their-ish or over young after a certain point, you don't care what people think. You say what is important, what's necessary to say. Nobody from you are mad. All of this senator is, yeah, this senator would be senator. Like I'm either Congo there. There is no, the Niba people, they don't shy away from pushing their own. Why was Bassa always be timid when we say we have the best? Why we can lead to? My cry here is a personal one too. Because if you know my last name, you know my father's sweat sacrificed for us. And we were not united enough to do what Nimba has done, Bofa has done, the Southeast has done. We will have another chance again. This is not a tribalistic issue.
She's Councillor Charlene Bromskin, prominent Liberian lawyer and politician. They're speaking. Bromskin remarks echo a growing sentiment among Liberians at home and abroad on the need for intentional investments in regions like Grand Bassa County, which remains rich in history and resources but underserved in national development. Her speech also highlighted the importance of intergenerational collaboration, urging youths and elders alike to work together towards a shared vision for progress. And the convention served as a vibrant gathering of culture, strategy, and purpose, celebrating heritage while setting a clear agenda for the future of Grand Bassa and Liberia in general. Away from home now, at least 15 people have died in a new outbreak of Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the country's health ministry has said. The presence of the virus has been confirmed in a 34-year-old pregnant woman who was admitted to hospital last month after showing symptoms that included a high fever and repeated vomiting. The ministry added she died a few hours later from multiple organ failures. This will be the 16th outbreak of the deadly virus in the vast Central African state that has poor health services and is hit by conflict in the east. The latest outbreak is in Central Kasi province with 28 suspected cases recorded, according to the ministries. Officials have urged strict adherence to preventive measures, including frequent washing of hands and social distancing in high-risk area. Tests identified the Zaire strain of Ebola, a rare but often deadly disease, officials have said. And today's development now, Zambia's former foreign minister Joseph Malingi has been sentenced to 4 years in prison with hard labor after being convicted of corruption. Malingi was found guilty on 7 counts of acquiring properties and helicopters suspected to be the proceeds of crimes, the state broadcaster has reported. His co-accused, former Treasury Secretary Ferguson Yamba, received a 3-year jail term for approving the the transfer of more than 8 million to Zambia's diplomatic mission in Turkey without justifying the expense. Several ministries or ministers in former President Eda Lungu's government has been convicted of various offenses, but Malingi's is the most high profile of them. Today's news here again is a recap of the headlines. Capitol building as on trial takes another dramatic legal term on today, Thursday, as Criminal Court A George Roosevelt Willie reserved ruling in the 33-count motion to suppress evidence filed by the defense team representing Imbato House Speaker, Councilor Fonati Kofa, and 3 other lawmakers of the 55th legislature. Political leader of the Liberian People's Party terms high salaries for public officials, extravagant state banquets, and endless convoys in a state where the majority cannot afford daily meals as examples of legalized theft. And the United States near Monrovia has announced a collaborative maritime security initiative between the Liberian Coast Guard and the Mexican National Guard. Away from home, at least 15 people have died in a new outbreak of the Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's according to the country's health ministry. And former foreign minister has been sentenced to hard labor for corruption in Zambia. Malingi was found guilty on 7 counts of acquiring properties and helicopters suspected to be the proceeds of crime. He has been sentenced to 4 years in prison with hard labor after being convicted of corruption. Many thanks to all of our contributors, editors, and reporters who helped in making this edition of King's Newsroom. As sources, do join us tomorrow morning at 6 p.m. for another edition of King's Newsroom. Many thanks to Marvin Varr, who will serve as our producer. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Cornelius Johnson. Many thanks for listening and watching. Good evening.